Before we get any further, this video contains spoilers for The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3. If you haven't seen it yet, we highly recommend you head on over to Disney Plus and watch it before continuing with the video. If you're all caught up or just don't care, let's dive right in. This week's episode of The Mandalorian wasn't quite what we expected, but we were definitely glad to see it. There's a lot to unpack regarding Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian convert, but we suspect that next week's episode will add a lot more to the narrative, so we'll hold off until next week to add our 2 cents on that. Instead, we'll be focusing on Dr. Pershing and his experiences with the New Republic. It's an interesting coincidence that, with the Mandalorian and the Bad Batch running concurrently, we're being treated to 2 sides of a similar coin. One is showing us the horrors and corruption of the Empire, while the other is showing us the incompetence of the New Republic. In today's video, we'll be talking about how the New Republic chose incompetence over corruption in its efforts to make up for the Empire's horrors. The Bad Batch and Andor have done an excellent job at showing us just how corrupt and authoritarian the Empire was on a day-to-day basis. It wasn't just evil admirals and Sidious plotting behind the scenes, but a corruption that burrowed deep into the government and military, into the police and the planetary defense forces. In the days of the Empire, no one was safe. No one had free speech or freedom of choice. Even higher ranking personnel or people who were considered important didn't really have a say in what they were doing with their lives, but if something were ever to go wrong, they were still held accountable as if they were the only people responsible. In short, the Empire was the antithesis of democracy, and that's why the Alliance to Restore the Republic fought so long and hard. After years of resistance, the galaxy could finally breathe freely again as the Galactic Empire fell and the New Republic rose to take the reins of the galaxy once more. Only problem is that they dropped those reins far more often than they held them. In today's episode, we got a good look at Coruscant, the heart of the galaxy and capital world of the Republic. The citizens looked happy. Children were enjoying magic shows and people could walk around freely, enjoying a fizzy drink or an ice lolly. The city was so bright and colorful, so full of hope and prosperity. That's the impression the New Republic wanted to give off, and in most cases, it worked. That's certainly what our protagonist for the day thought, one Dr. Pershing, who was now welcomed into the heart of the New Republic. Unfortunately for him, however, his stay would not turn out to be a pleasant one. Fans may remember Dr. Pen Pershing from the first season of The Mandalorian. He was the scientist working with the Imperial remnants in the first few episodes, the one who had put a bounty on Grogu and wanted to clone him. Now, however, the Doctor finds himself on Coruscant, making a speech to a huge audience as part of the Amnesty program. Now, the Amnesty program was set up by the New Republic as part of their efforts to rehabilitate and recruit former Imperial personnel to work for the new regime. As we mentioned earlier, many Imperials weren't willing participants in the Empire's atrocities. Many had no choice and were now shunned for their forced participation. The New Republic thought to recruit them and put them to better use than hiding for their past sins. On paper, it's a great idea. In reality, however, the New Republic's execution was problematic. Right off the bat, we're bludgeoned with feel-good vibes. People at the gala are quick to welcome and congratulate Dr. Pershing for his brave speech. They gush over him, give him plenty of pats on the back, and let him know how wonderful it is that the New Republic is here. I think we can all agree that the energy was slightly uncomfortable. That feeling continues when he's taken to Amnesty housing, driven by a droid that's so very enthusiastic to tell him about how wonderful Coruscant is and all the sights he should see. But the first thing Pershing sees when he arrives is a table of former Imperial soldiers who welcome him with open arms. And it's as strained as a table full of war criminals trying to show they're reformed can be. Some of the dialogue in this scene is positively cringy, not just because they make bad jokes, but because the former imps are trying so hard not to sound like Imperials. Although they must feel out of place, they're unable to reminisce even about the simplest of things without being afraid they'd sound like Imperial sympathizers. We have to note that we can't guarantee they were all genuine victims of the Empire, but the way they all have to make sure they act like it is uncomfortable. A second note of discomfort comes from the fact that they're using numbers: G68, M40, G27, L. The New Republic is claiming it's trying to reintegrate people into its society, but it's giving them numbers just like the Empire used to do. With that uncomfortable scene behind us, Pershing is put to work. Despite his background as a cloning and genetic engineer, he's made to do manual data input as they work through documenting all the seized Imperial assets. But Pershing wants to do more. He knows he can be much more useful to the New Republic, but is being intentionally held back. G68 is quick to reassure him of that. His fellow soldier from Moff Gideon's ship, she takes him under her wing and shows him around. She's the one who convinces him he can do more and that it's okay to want to do more. She's the one gently pushing him toward dissatisfaction, and in the end, she's the one who convinces him to travel to the junkyard, steal Imperial lab materials so he can set up a mini lab and continue his work. She's also the one to end him, and it's all the New Republic's fault. The mental death of Dr. Pen Pershing is 100% the Republic's fault. At every step of the way, they failed utterly to take the proper precautions and security measures to ensure the program would actually run smoothly, and it was all in the name of feeling good. Throughout the episode, we see security breach after security breach. The first one is even pointed out to us by the former Imperials being rehabilitated. We have to agree with the Imperials here. Housing an unknown number of Imperials together is just begging for them to secretly work together to undermine your government, or to encourage those who might not have been happy about the regime change to conspire. Another terrible plan was to allow former Imperials from the same unit to be together. That's how G68 got to Pershing, and it's something that should never have been allowed to happen. The next major security breach is the fact that, somehow, the Imperial ships and arms are just casually lying around the junkyard. No guards, no nothing. An intra-city shuttle literally stops there. Anyone could get off and make off with some Imperial tech. We could also talk about their vetting process. Throughout the episode, Pershing is forced to talk to a droid asking him cookie-cutter questions and expecting cookie-cutter answers. Even when Pershing hesitates to answer her, "Have you experienced any feelings of anger or resentment toward the New Republic or its representatives?" question, the droid just repeats as if he hadn't heard her. There's no proper screening process and no proper supervision over the former Imperials. Which brings us to Communications Officer Elia Kane, Imperial Sleeper Agent. She had no difficulty getting into the program, in getting close to Pershing or setting him up. And at the end, she had no difficulty in asking to be left alone with the patient so she could dial up the Mind Flayer and utterly destroy any knowledge the scientist had of the Empire's cloning projects. And that's our final security breach. She should have never been left alone, but the Republic trooper cared about her feelings of friendship. And that's the core issue here. The New Republic, in trying to be different to the Empire, is putting more emphasis on feeling good and being kind and accepting and forgiving than on actual Republic security. Their priorities are completely out of whack. Honestly, we feel as if we were watching some psychological thriller movie where the protagonist finds himself in a mental ward or a dystopian utopia. The entire vibe was off, and it's because the Republic cares more about being kind than being practical. Today, it cost Dr. Pershing his mental faculties. Tomorrow, it might cost them much more. What do you think? Were you as creeped out at the simpering nicety in this episode, or was it just us? Feel free to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.